Jamie and I have just been rehearsing for our upcoming concert. We have two coming up, one at 1901 Arts Club on the 5th of February and one at St Mary Le Strand on the 6th of February.
Yes.
It's going to be a busy week, isn't it? Like
it
now,
is.
Get the tea.
Get them over and done with.
Vodka. James is an incredible countertenor who's performed at some of the biggest opera houses. What are some of the roles you performed?
Refugee in Flight, Oberon, Jonathan Dove, yes.
Yeah, nice.
I've been lucky to do lots of Jonathan's works over the years.
Yeah. You did Itch, didn't you, as well?
Yeah, he created Itch.
He created it like with as in
the Adventures of Pinocchio, the roles for the countertenor in there. So the fox and the coachman.
Is that Alistair Middleton who did the libretto? Yeah.
That's his regular librettist.
Yes, yeah. He taught me at Junior Guildhall Drama.
Interesting.
Stanislavski technique.
Love him.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
He's so funny, isn't he? Yeah.
He is very dry.
Yes.
And wonderful text setter. Yeah. So Jonathan, he knows my voice backwards. It's always fun to have a composer call you up and say, "Can you bark like a dog?" Oh, okay. And that's where
you're game for anything.
Yeah, I mean, I don't quite know why I'm doing it. I assume it's for the opera. Lots of Benjamin Britten, Oberon, Midsummer Night's Dream. This year, I've done 3 Midsummer Night's Dreams. One more next year as well.
Nice. Where will that be?
In Missouri, in St. Louis.
Wow!
Crossing the pond.
That's cool. I feel like home, that role for you.
Very much so. Text is like super important, and doing Shakespeare and that, like I say, a role that I know so well. Even now, like 70 performances into doing it, there's still things to find. There's still interest, and actually think about that in a different way.
So you just did it at Opera North, didn't you? Even though you just said you've done it so many times. Is it the directors who inspire you to do it differently each time?
I think it's both, because the Opera North Dream, that was the second revival, so the third time that I've done that production. Even with that, it feels different now. And as a human, I'm a different person, so attacking it differently. And the director, they have new thoughts about it. It's easier if it's a completely new production. It's a whole new world and different props and different colleagues makes a big difference. Like the fact that colleagues sing emotionally different each time.
Yeah, you get an interpretation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, you like doing it that way, so I'm going to respond in a different way to that.
So, talking about interpretations, how do you approach interpreting a role compared to how you approach an art song and the text in both of those things?
Honestly, I don't have much experience in doing art song and recitals. Shock horror.
I've dragged you.
Strangely, I haven't had the opportunity to do much recital work. So I think naturally I approach it from an operatic perspective of character, telling a story. Each song is its own tale, and how do I get that across in the best way? Is that me as a narrator? Is that me as a character within the piece? Certainly the programme that we have, there's a mixture of those. It's also third person. There's actually, weirdly, a lot more choices to be made from my perspective, as opposed to opera, which is just single character. I suppose the similarity is, as I said before, that in an opera, yes, I'm doing one thing, but I'm responding to outside factors from other people, as opposed to the outside factors of you as the pianist.
The reason I ask is sometimes, I don't know if this is right or wrong, I'll speak to singers and they'll say people approach art song as an opera singer with a different kind of voice. Have you heard of that before?
I know that there are certain people manipulate their voice,
kind of quieter or something. I'm not sure what I think about that.
Whether they come off the voice a little bit more, or they play with their vibrato a bit more. I'm still learning in that respect. For me, everything's fair game, and I'll only know on the 5th.
That's one reason to come on the 5th.
I should do the 6th. For me, drama is key. Engaging your audience is key. It's not enough to stand there and sing beautifully.
I completely agree. Yeah.
That's the minimum we should be achieving.
Yeah, the bare minimum.
And as a partnership, how we can really draw that audience into what we're talking about, singing about and playing about. And
paint certain words. So we're doing a lot of Earth and Air and Rain by Finzi. Thomas Hardy's poetry. and it relies so much on singers bringing a good level of interpretation to it. The text can be quite difficult, like Shakespeare as well. I think you do a particularly good job because you really study the text so carefully, and you always come with loads of interesting thoughts and ideas on the text and the interpretive side of it. So that's something I really enjoy when we're working together.
Thank you.
Oh my god.
Like I say, never get stuck in one particular vein of doing something. Always try, and when you try, you might go, oh, actually, that didn't work. It's the challenge of song. How do we keep it interesting? How do we make it reach the audience?
Do you think it's a different challenge from opera?
Yes and no. Yes, in that you're obviously far more exposed. You can't hide behind a full orchestra and whatever they're blaring out.
Just little old me.
Yes. You're exposed, and maybe that's why singers sing differently, because they feel that they can't necessarily sing full-bodied because it'll just be too big for the space or whatever it is, or they'll overpower the second voice in recital, which is obviously yourself. And I think that's important, to have the feeling that it's actually there's two voices in this thing. It isn't a voice and subservient piano underneath. Both have a story to tell. And how they marry is the fun part.
So talking about our concert, which is sponsored by the Herbert House Society, we're very fortunate. Why did you want to be involved in this particular concert about Howells and English composers, and what actually draws you to English art song composers?
Started with the Finzi, and I just always loved listening to them and loved singing them privately.
That cycle?
Particularly that cycle. That's from my college days. Don't think about how long that was, 30 years ago.
That was just yesterday, Jamie.
Yesterday. Through college you experience lots of different things. The art song that I ended up doing a lot of was Finzi, and especially this cycle. But I haven't had the opportunity to really do it since, because 95% of my work is opera. So it was really, okay, we've got this free rein to do a programme, what are we going to do? Okay, let's throw some things down that I really like to do. And Finzi, the Howells, which is just wonderful anyway.
Well, we met because we did a concert for a thing called Divas and Scholars at Tramp nightclub. I love a club. We did King David, which is funny because it's such a core piece of repertoire for me as a collaborative pianist, but I actually never played it.
Was I your first?
You were my first King David.
I've ruined you now. Countertenors. It's the only way it should be done.
But no, it was so amazing.
When this concert came up, let's start with the Howells, because we know that we really enjoyed doing that together. And where do we go from there? So Finzi was a natural fit to go in that. And then, of course, we've expanded it to some of our composer friends. Ian good friends of yours.
We will actually be giving the world premiere as well of an Ian Venables song. But
we will.
Ian was very inspired by Howells and Finzi's music. I don't know if you knew that. In a piece called The Chosen Tune, which I'm doing in the programme, Chosen is a hill just outside of Gloucester.
Okay.
And if you go up to the top of it, you can see Lidley and Painswick. Where they're all from. And Howells often wrote music up there, and Finzi went up there a lot. Ian often goes up to the hill as well. Who else have we got?
A friend of mine called Russell Pascoe, kind of instrumental in my upbringing as a countertenor. When I left school, I'd only been singing countertenor for sort of 6 months, and ended up going to sing in the cathedral down in Truro. Russell is a proud Cornishman. We became firm friends through that year. Over the years, has written bits and bobs for me. Not that I've been able to sing them because I don't do recitals.
Well, now you are!
And this is the perfect opportunity to get Pascoe into the world, because...
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, it is.
It's a beautiful song we're doing. Really.
And a very individual voice. We're doing some Nico Muley.
It's like an 11-minute epic.
Yeah.
Great.
And I've worked with Nico operatically. So in fact, this piece, Marnie, is a Nico Muley piece. My Toy Toy Toy.
Wait, can we hold it up to the camera? Because we were rehearsing earlier and I was like, have you actually got a, I hope you can see it, a Toy 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 mug? You're such an opera singer, it hurts.
It's fine.
It's actually killing me.
Don't let it hurt you. Do you feel dirty?
Yeah, I'm just like, oh god, too much opera. Take it back to art song.
Countertenors are, we're a strange breed anyway. We're not real opera singers.
Yes, you are.
It's not a real voice.
It is.
Okay, yeah, it is. It's a wonderful voice. And,
it is.
Yeah.
I feel, Jamie, tell me if I'm wrong about this, but I feel it's quite unusual for a countertenor to do a big English song recital.
Yeah, certainly of this kind of repertoire. Plenty of modern composers write for countertenors, but typically, certainly the recitals I see, they tend to be a kind of early sort of Dowland, Purcell, and then maybe some sort of modern realisations, the Britten realisations of Purcell and things like that, that kind of mix in. And so you don't necessarily get a full 21st century programme just for countertenor.
This is going to be really unique, I think.
It will be unique.
Defo.
Yeah. I mean, you're unique.
Me? I'm just a girl. So obviously, Jamie, you've had a very successful, and you're still having...
I think, yes.
No, you are. You're still having a very successful career, and I'm sure it inspires so many people. What other things people might not know about being an international opera singer? What do you do to prepare for a major role?
The first thing is, agent will send me a message and say, I had some interest for this. Get the job. Work out what language it's in.
Nice.
Honestly, so much just goes into language prep.
Yeah,
because
it's fun though.
It is, absolutely.
You like that stuff.
There's no point in doing it if you're not interpreting it yourself.
No.
Again, it might be a beautiful noise, but for your audience, I don't want them to sit there and just listen to a beautiful voice. I want them to sit there and think about what they're being told. It's easier doing a recital in English because that's obviously our native language and you understand it so well. But the hard thing with doing opera in foreign languages, 3-hour-long opera, having to translate it all word by word and then learn the blooming thing for day one of rehearsal. That's kind of the biggest challenge. Most other things are just to do with the staging and the director and getting over the barriers of your own prejudice of how you see your character versus how the director sees your character.
That's interesting. I never thought about that.
I remember going into this Handel opera thinking to myself, I know this character, you know, he's a strong king, very single-minded. The director's like, no, it's not that at all. You need to be a shell of your previous power. Having to redo everything that you've kind of, because when you sing through things, you're adding character and emotion. And the more you do that, it becomes sort of second nature.
100%.
So then having to take that away and rebuild it, it's like, okay, learn the notes, turn up, blank canvas, where are we going today with this character? And I love that. Within operatic circles, I'm known as being an actor, primarily. And I think of myself as an actor that sings. Hopefully sing quite well too.
I don't know about that. I'm not sure about that. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Thank you. So I think that's the hardest thing is just getting to grips with the language to then give you that lever into character, the story.
Because a lot of people think being an opera singer is very glamorous, and do you think? What do you think?
It's changed. I mean, you know.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, you know, the opera singers in the sort of 1960s, 70s, 80s, absolutely, it was glamorous. It was a valued art form. It was an art form for all. I mean, you just have to think. You walk down the street today, and you can pick anyone on the street, and they'll be probably able to name a couple of those big names. Pavarotti for sure.
Pavarotti, Callas.
Exactly. Janet Baker, people like that. Well, I think actually, if you took your average person on the street today, they'd struggle to name. Like, we know the big names in the business, Giorgio and Kaufman and those people, but I don't know if they really do. It's kind of sad, the value that society gives opera nowadays. It's just viewed as a slightly elitist art form. And anything that's viewed as elitist, people don't, you know, it's... I don't know, they don't seem to care.
I completely agree. I think it's the same with art song. I find that really, and I think that's why you maybe don't get that so much from musical theatre, because I love musical theatre so much. So that's
we got a Jason Robert Brown recital in us. Can we do that?
Do you like Jason Robert Brown?
Yeah, I like Jason Robert Brown.
Jason Robert. Okay. Oh my god, can we actually?
I don't know.
Can that be our next one?
Okay, yeah. I quite happily do.
Last 5 years.
Yeah, last 5 years. You haven't done much with the countertenor before?
No.
Other than our tramp?
I played with a couple of countertenors when I was at Guildhall, but I haven't done any recitals with countertenor.
Do you feel there's any difference between when you're so used to doing this repertoire with traditional voices?
Sure.
How do you feel about a countertenor doing this kind of rap?
Oh my god, I feel great about it. The thing is, I don't really think about the voice. For me, I'm always just thinking about the artistic interpretation. and the clarity of the text,
Yeah.
and that's all I ever care about.
So it doesn't matter about the voice as long as the story is being told.
I don't care, and quite frankly, I'm a bit wacky with my ideas. I have a mezzo soprano called Rachel Rowe that I work with a lot. Me and Venables' cycle that we do in our Ivor Gurney concert is for a baritone, and she sings it, but she brings such incredible power. I know Ian loves her voice, and I love her voice, and I don't care as long as the text is good and clear, and there's a lot of interpretation to it, and the musicality is on point. And it's honestly a massive pleasure to play alongside you. I'm not even joking, for once. Be serious. It's really interesting because I can understand why you might ask that question, and I did ask myself that question. What is this going to be like? But after we did our recital at Tram, and you put in that and the Howl song and the Vaughan Williams Silent Noon.
Oh, it's another gorgeous piece.
Beautiful. That's when the idea came into my mind, and then you were like, right, if you ever need someone, I was like, actually, I have this thing I really want to do. The intelligence you bring to the songs hit me, like it's so cool when I'm playing. And I think we found a lot of interesting new interpretive stuff that I hadn't thought about when I've done it before.
You were saying that.
I've done that cycle a lot with baritone, obviously, but I've never done it with...
I mean, it would be the same, if it was two baritones singing it. The strengths of each individual's voices are in different places.
Absolutely.
So, what works for one might not work for another in a particular area or particular section of a song. That's no different, I guess, with me as a countertenor.
With any voice, I have to adjust whatever I'm doing. So, I'm not necessarily going to play forte, even if it says that. That's my job as a collaborative pianist when I'm with a singer, is to constantly rebalance it and approach it in a different way. So I think that's dependent on any voice, and some baritones are lighter, for example, some are much...
Yeah, and which means that then you can give it a bit more, and it's good fun.
Well, because Jamie's got a dog. What's the dog called?
Breeze.
Breeze? Like Febreze?
Like, yes. Well, they don't often need Febreze after him.
Just chuck me out, all the concerts are cancelled, that's it now. No, so I've fallen in love with your dog.
Oh, yeah, he's
Breeze is so a gorgeous colour. But what is your least favourite animal?
Least favourite animal? I'm just trying to think of the criteria that would make it my least favourite. Would it be because they don't really have a use?
What animal doesn't have a use?
Well, I don't know. Well, yeah, like... okay. Foxes.
Really?
Yeah. Only because they eat my chickens.
You have chickens?
Not anymore. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh no! Oh my god! Sorry. Okay.
Yeah. No. We.
Oh, not the chicken.
It's the sad nature of having livestock is that you often have dead stock. And they live out in the front here, and they toodle away. They did. We went from 4 down to 2, and we had a couple of different breeds. They were very cute.
Did they have names?
Fresh eggs. Yes, Autumn, Diva, Deanie, Houdini, because she can get out all the time.
Oh, love that.
And what was that? Autumn, Diva. I can't remember.
This is too much.
I can't think of their names now because it's just so traumatic.
Not Diva, the chicken.
We were away over the summer for 3 weeks, and the neighbours dutifully looked after them. And 2 nights after we were back, we all went to visit my mum. We left her place about 8:30, starting to get dark, and my wife said in the car, "Do you think we should phone the neighbours and get them locking the chickens?" I was like, "They'll be fine. It's like it's not even 9 o'clock. They'll be fine. They'll be fine." At 9 o'clock, "Are you at home?"
Oh, no.
We're like, "No."
Chickens
are making a horrible noise.
Oh no!
Like,
oh no!
Yeah. So,
oh my god! Yeah. I like a fox. To be honest. Sorry, I hope.
No, each their own.
You're okay.
And to be fair, I kind of do like foxes, but only when they're killing my chickens.
Yeah, fair enough.
I hate them.
I don't like Jack Russells because I love dogs, but I don't like Jack Russell. Because a Jack Russell, when I was 3 years old, my nan had a Jack Russell called Jack.
Okay.
Original.
And
she did not train that dog at all. And couldn't even go in the room without it literally losing its temper. And I went in the room and it literally nearly bit my finger off. And I'm just like, every time I see it, I love dogs so much and animals. Oh my god, Febreze!
Come on.
Hello. Hello, Bruce. Isn't that
You're
the
gonna come up?
prettiest colour you've seen?
Good boy.
Bruce. Oh.
My baby. My baby.
You don't eat the chickens, do you?
He chases.
He kissed me.
When he first met
Most
them.
action I've ever had. No, I'm joking. Oh, God.